You've heard the rumors. Creatine will make you lose your hair, or it's going to mess with your hormones. One article says it boosts testosterone. Another warns it's bad for women. It's all pretty confusing. So what's the real story? In this video, we're cutting through the noise to look at what the science actually says about how creatine affects your hormones, from men's testosterone to women's monthly cycles. And the answer is probably not what you think. Let's be honest, you're probably here for one of two reasons. You're a guy worried that starting creatine will fast-track you to baldness, or you're a woman wondering if it will throw your entire hormonal system into chaos. The internet is a minefield of conflicting information, and when it comes to supplements, separating bro science from real science can feel impossible. But today, in Blue Power, we are going to arm you with the facts, because the truth about creatine in your hormones is far more interesting, and for many, way more beneficial than the myths would have you believe. We'll break down the single study that started all the panic, and then show you what dozens of other studies have to say. Before we can debunk the myths, we have to understand where they came from. For creatine, almost all of the panic traces back to a single study from 2009. First, a quick refresher on what creatine even is. In simple terms, creatine is a natural compound your body already makes that helps your muscles create energy. Think of it like a rapid recharge battery pack for your cells. When you do something intense, like lifting a heavy weight or sprinting, your cells use a high-energy molecule called ATP. Creatine helps regenerate that ATP at lightning speed, allowing you to push harder for longer. It's not a steroid or some synthetic lab-made drug. It's one of the most researched supplements on the planet, and you get it naturally from foods like red meat. Now meet the villain of our story, that 2009 study on college-aged rugby players. In the study, players took a big loading dose of creatine, 25 grams a day for 1 week, followed by a normal maintenance dose. Researchers found that while the players' testosterone levels didn't change, their levels of a hormone called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, went up by 56%, and that was the spark that lit the internet fire. Why? Because DHT is the main hormone linked to male pattern baldness. For people who are genetically prone to it, DHT can shrink hair follicles until they eventually stop producing hair. So the logic became creatine might increase DHT, and DHT is linked to hair loss. Therefore, creatine causes hair loss. It sounds plausible, and that's why the rumor has had such staying power. But this conclusion jumps over a mountain of evidence to focus on a single, unreplicated molehill with some serious limitations. So let's get straight to the big question for the guys. Does creatine mess with your testosterone or make your hair fall out? Based on the overwhelming body of scientific evidence, the answer is a clear no. That 2009 rugby study has become a scientific outlier, a single data point that has never been replicated. Since then, numerous other studies have looked at creatine's effect on hormones, and they all paint a very different picture. The vast majority of studies show that creatine does not significantly increase total testosterone or the free testosterone that gets converted to DHT. A comprehensive 2021 review stated plainly that the current evidence does not indicate creatine supplementation leads to hair loss or baldness. It's also critical to add context to that 2009 study. The researchers noted that the creatine group started with baseline DHT levels that were 23% lower than the placebo group. This difference from the start raises important questions about whether the increase was just a return to normal levels rather than a spike into a danger zone. In fact, even after the increase, the players' DHT levels remained well within the normal, healthy range. And if you need more reassurance, a high-quality 12-week randomized controlled trial from 2025 was designed specifically to put this issue to rest. Researchers gave resistance-trained men 5 grams of creatine per day and measured everything: their DHT levels, their DHT to testosterone ratio, and even their hair count. The results? No significant changes in DHT or hair loss compared to the group taking a placebo. So, what's our verdict? For men, the fear that creatine will directly cause hair loss or wreck your testosterone isn't supported by the science. Any effect on DHT, if it exists at all, appears to be minimal and well within normal ranges. Now, let's pivot, because the story of creatine and women's hormones is where things get truly fascinating. While men worry about what creatine might do to their hormones, the real conversation for women is what creatine can do for them as their natural hormones change. Let's be crystal clear. There's no strong evidence that creatine directly raises or lowers hormones like estrogen or progesterone. Its benefits aren't hormonal, they're energetic. Creatine works by supporting the energy systems in your body, which can be a huge help for your brain, bones, and muscles, all things that are highly sensitive to hormonal shifts. Creatine and the menstrual cycle. A woman's body has different creatine needs than a man's, partly because women have naturally 70 to 80% lower baseline creatine stores. These needs also change throughout the menstrual cycle as estrogen and progesterone levels fluctuate, directly influencing how your body uses creatine. For example, during the luteal phase, the week or so before your period, many women experience a dip in energy levels. This is a time of high hormonal activity that can increase muscle breakdown. Creatine can help by providing that crucial ATP energy support to both your muscles and your brain, helping you feel stronger and more mentally sharp. And what about the bloating myth? Creatine primarily pulls water inside your muscle cells, not under your skin, which can actually help counteract the water retention some women experience pre-period, a powerful ally for perimenopause and menopause. The benefits become even more pronounced during perimenopause and menopause. As estrogen declines, your body becomes less efficient at using its own creatine. This directly contributes to some of the toughest symptoms of this life stage: accelerated muscle loss, decreased bone density, and that dreaded brain fog. This is where creatine supplementation can be a game changer. Muscle and bone health. When combined with resistance training, taking 3 to 5 grams of creatine daily has been shown to help preserve muscle mass and strength in menopausal women. Stronger muscles mean better support for your skeleton, and some studies suggest creatine may even support bone health, cognitive function, and mood. This is maybe the most exciting part. That feeling of mental fatigue and forgetfulness, creatine can make a real difference. Your brain is a massive energy consumer, and by ensuring it has enough ATP, creatine can improve cognitive function and memory. Some studies even show it can have a positive effect on your mood. In fact, recent research highlighted that perimenopausal and menopausal women taking creatine saw significant improvements in things like reaction time and cognitive performance. For women, creatine isn't about messing with your hormones, it's about giving your body the fundamental cellular energy it needs to manage the effects of your natural hormonal cycles more effectively. So, after cutting through all the noise, what's the final word? For men, the story is simple. The widespread fear of hair loss is based on a single, unreplicated 2009 study with some key limitations. The huge body of research since then, including brand new high-quality trials, shows that standard doses of creatine don't cause baldness or significantly alter your key hormones. For women, the story is revolutionary. Creatine is emerging as one of the most beneficial supplements for female health, not because it changes your hormones, but because it provides the cellular energy needed to manage the effects of your natural hormonal cycles more effectively. The best part? It's simple and safe. For most people, a daily dose of 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, the most researched form, is all you need. There's no need for complicated loading phases. It is one of the safest and most effective supplements you can take when used correctly. Creatine is not the hormonal villain it's been made out to be. It's a well-researched, safe, and effective tool that works by supporting your body's most fundamental energy systems. The real story here isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. If this video cleared up your confusion and gave you the confidence to make an informed decision, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. In Blue Power, we're dedicated to bringing you science-backed health info without the hype. And if you're curious to learn more, check out our next video on the most underrated supplements for brain health. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.